The words hit me like a fist to the gut. Let's just be friends. Sarah's voice was soft, almost kind, but it carried a blade that sliced through 9 years of marriage. She stood in our kitchen, her suitcase from the girls' trip still unpacked by the door, her eyes avoiding mine. The air smelled of burnt coffee I'd forgotten on the stove, and the late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the hardwood. I stared at her, my heart a drumbeat in my throat, waiting for the punchline that never came. Why? The question scraped out of me, raw and unsteady. I gripped the edge of the counter, the cool granite grounding me as the room tilted. Sarah's lips parted, but she said nothing, her fingers twisting the hem of her sweater. A nervous habit I'd once found endearing. Now it felt like a signal flare. I need space, Mark, she said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. I've been thinking a lot on the trip. About us. About what I want. Her words were careful, rehearsed, like she'd practiced them in front of a mirror. I wanted to scream. To demand what had changed in the 5 days she'd been gone with her college friends, laughing and drinking in some beachside Airbnb. But the look in her eyes, distant, guarded, kept me silent. The first red flag had been subtle. 2 months ago, she'd started locking her phone, something she'd never done before. I'd noticed it one evening when she left it on the couch, the screen dark and unyielding when I tried to check the time. Battery's acting weird, she'd said with a shrug, snatching it up. I'd believed her because I wanted to, because the alternative was a crack in the foundation of everything I thought we were. Now, standing in our too-quiet kitchen, I replayed every moment of the past few weeks. The late-night texts she'd dismissed as work stuff. The way she'd linger in the bathroom after a shower, the door locked, her voice low as she spoke to someone on the phone. I told myself it was nothing, paranoia born of long hours at the office and too little sleep. But the truth was clawing its way out now, sharp and undeniable. Space. I repeated, my voice harder than I meant it to be. What does that even mean, Sarah? We're married. We have a life together. You don't just decide to be friends. My hands trembled, and I shoved them into my pockets to hide it. She flinched, her gaze darting to the window where the neighbor's sprinkler hissed faintly in the distance. I don't know how to explain it, she said, her voice cracking. I just feel trapped, like I'm losing myself. Her words were a plea, but they felt like a script, each syllable polished to deflect blame. I wanted to grab her shoulders, to shake her until the real Sarah, the one who'd laughed with me over cheap wine on our first date, who'd cried in my arms when her father died, came back. But the woman in front of me was a stranger, her hazel eyes clouded with something I couldn't name. The next few days were a blur of silence and avoidance. Sarah slept in the guest room, her suitcase still untouched, like she was ready to bolt at any moment. I buried myself in work, but every email, every meeting, was haunted by her words. I started noticing things I'd missed before. The faint scent of unfamiliar cologne on her scarf, the way she'd smile at her phone when she thought I wasn't looking. Each discovery was a splinter under my skin, sharp and festering. On the 4th night, I couldn't take it anymore. I waited until she was asleep, her breathing soft and even through the guest room door. Her phone was on the nightstand, glowing faintly in the dark. My hands shook as I picked it up, the passcode, our anniversary, still the same. The betrayal was there, waiting in her messages, in a thread with someone named Jay. No last name, just a single letter, like a secret too dangerous to spell out. I miss you already. The latest message read, sent at 2 a.m. from the trip. Below it, a photo of Sarah on a beach, her hair windswept, her smile brighter than I'd seen in months. My chest tightened, the air too thick to breathe. I scrolled up, each message a fresh wound. Can't wait to see you again. You make me feel alive. Mark doesn't suspect anything. I don't know how long I stood there, the phone burning in my hand. The house was silent except for the hum of the refrigerator, a sound I'd never noticed until it was the only thing tethering me to reality. I wanted to wake her, to scream, to demand answers. But something colder took over, a need to know how far this went, how deep the lie ran. The next morning I played along. I made coffee, kissed her cheek, and watched her eyes flicker with guilt. I've been thinking, I said casually, stirring sugar into my mug. Maybe you're right. Maybe we need a break. Her relief was palpable, her shoulders relaxing as she nodded too quickly. Yeah, maybe, she said, her voice light, like she'd been handed a lifeline. That night, I followed her. It was reckless, stupid even, but I needed to see it for myself. She told me she was meeting a friend for drinks, but I knew better. I tailed her car to a dimly lit bar downtown, the kind of place we'd never gone together. Through the window, I saw her with him. Jay, I assumed, a man with dark hair and a smile that made my stomach churn. They sat close, her hand on his arm, her laugh carrying through the glass. I didn't confront her then. Instead, I went home, my mind racing. The next day, I called a lawyer, my voice steady as I outlined what I needed. By evening, I had everything ready. When Sarah came home, I was waiting at the kitchen table, a manila envelope in front of me. What's this? She asked, her voice wary as she set her purse down. Open it, I said, my tone calm but unyielding. She hesitated, then slid the papers out. Divorce papers. A private investigator's report. Screenshots of her messages. Her face drained of color, her hands trembling as she flipped through the evidence. Mark, she started, but I cut her off. Actually, I said, leaning forward, my voice low and deliberate, I don't want to be friends. Her eyes widened, tears spilling over as the weight of her secrets crashed down. She reached for me, but I stood, the chair scraping against the floor. You wanted space, Sarah. You've got it. I walked out, leaving her with the wreckage of her choices. The night air was cool, the stars sharp above our quiet street. For the first time in weeks, I could breathe.